I've walked through every camp in my life. Independent, raised that way. In my 20s, I was in the left. In my early 30s, I joined the right. I've defended each side at one point or another. I've seen it all from the inside, and let me tell you this straight. The right doesn't need the left to demonize them. They've done that just fine on their own. Shall we? Now, I'll give them credit where credit's due. Not every so-called banned book was an untouchable masterpiece. A lot of that material was straight porn shoved at kids, thinly disguised as representation or education. And yes, protecting children from that filth isn't tyranny. That's common sense. But here's where the right lost the plot. Instead of keeping the fight on that battlefield, they went nuclear. They started targeting porn and started targeting anything that made them uncomfortable. History books, science texts, novels that didn't sing their song. Yet they didn't know when to stop. That's how they handed their critics every weapon they needed to paint them as authoritarian clowns. You shout liberty while selling chains. It was Bush and Cheney who gutted freedom with the Patriot Act, warrantless wiretaps, bulk surveillance, the government in your wallet, your bedroom, your inbox, and the right applauded. That's not liberty, that's bondage dressed in red, white, and blue. And then came Iraq. Rumsfeld, Wolfowitz, Rice, they swore Saddam had weapons of mass destruction. They swore Iraq was tied to 9/11. All lies. Thousands of American soldiers dead. Hundreds of thousands of Iraqi civilians slaughtered. Trillions wasted. And the right still chants support of the troops while the veterans beg for scraps at the VA. You don't support them. You use them as props for your empire of oil. You scream family values, but your receipts are written in scandal. Newt Gingrich preaching against adultery while cheating and divorcing his wife on her hospital bed. Mark Sanford disappearing for days to meet his mistress in Argentina. Larry Craig caught soliciting sex in a bathroom while voting against LGBTQ rights. Dennis Hassard, Speaker of the House, covering up decades of molesting boys. Jim Jordan looked away while the wrestlers were abused on his watch. And yet you shriek about drag queens reading books. You don't guard morality, you desecrate it. You swore fiscal responsibility while detonating the debt. Reagan tripled it. Bush Jr. exploded it again with tax cuts for the wealthy and endless wars. Modern Republicans fatten billionaires with subsidies while starving working families. You say you hate socialism, but you practice it for corporations, big time. And don't you dare call food stamps socialism. Food stamps are the closest this nation has ever come to following Christ, dividing loaves and fishes so the hungry are fed. To sneer at that is to sneer at Jesus himself. You wail about cancel culture, but you invented it, burning Beatles records, blacklisting the Dixie Chicks, censoring heavy metal with parental stickers. You sharpened that blade, and now it's cutting you. And look at your heroes, Jerry Falwell Jr., pants undone, drunk, caught in filth while preaching purity. Pat Robertson blaming hurricanes on gay marriage while hoarding millions. Ted Cruz insulted, humiliated, and still licking the boots of power like a beaten dog. Clarence Thomas sailing on billionaire yachts while calling himself impartial. Matt Gaetz investigated for trafficking a minor, still paraded as righteous. George Santos, a walking fraud who lied about everything and the GOP still sat him in Congress. This is your army? No, this is a circus of clowns and predator. Editors, I've leaned left, I've leaned right, I've stood in the middle, I've defended each side. I can tell you this, the right built its house on outrage instead of solutions. They made drag shows and bathrooms the hill to die on while the economy rotted. Workers struggled, housing costs skyrocketed, and communities collapsed. They screamed about teachers reading porn, fair enough, but then swung at everything else under the sun, gutting their own credibility. They swapped discipline for drama. They built their movement on outrage cliques, culture war, junk food, and circus acts. They didn't get demonized. They put the horns on themselves, lit their own reputation on fire, and danced in the ashes like it was a victory parade. And before you come at me with your cheap shots, don't you even think to call me a grifter. Grifters lie for money. They sell you comfort. They peddle you lies. They get rich off your applause. That's not me. I tell the truth and stay broke for it. I torch both sides because I've walked through both sides. I don't profit from the fire, I burn it. The right doesn't need the left to destroy them. They are their own executioners. They scream freedom while they sharpen chains. They preach morality while they drown in scandal. They brag about fiscal restraint while gorging on greed. They wave the flag, but it's only camouflage for cowardice. They are bootlickers with flags, kneeling to power, kneeling to money, kneeling to idols that will never save them. They don't serve Christ, they mock him. They don't defend America, they prostitute it. I once stood with you, but I don't kneel for tyrants. I don't serve hypocrites. I don't sing hymns to idols. I serve truth, and truth demands this torch. This has been Cal Vanstar. And now, having torched both the left and the right in nearly equal measure, oh, don't worry, I'm not done. Rage, repent, rise.